Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nate Franzine, and I'm president of Ag Banking at First Dakota National Bank. I'm going to be your moderator for this segment on ag development. So we're really excited to have you out there. For the participants, we're gonna have a little conversation with our panelists here. But as we do, I would encourage you to feel free to use the Q&A box, the Q&A tool here in your webinar. And I'll be keeping an eye on that, and I'll try to get your questions incorporated into our conversation along the way. So I encourage you to do that. I'm excited to talk about ag development. Agriculture is our state's #1 industry, and two better people to talk about that than the two we have with us today. So I want to give each of them a chance to introduce themselves. I'm going to start out with Mike Jaspers. Mike, introduce yourself if you would, please.
Yes, well, good afternoon, everyone. So as Nate said, my name is Mike Jaspers. I grew up on a family farm in Northeast South Dakota. Been involved in agriculture one way or another, basically my entire life. In production agriculture, currently I raise corn, soybeans, beef cattle, and hogs. Also, outside of that role, I currently serve as a business development director for East River Electric, the wholesale electric cooperative for the rural electric co-op system. And I also am serving right now as the interim director of South Dakota Corn Growers Association as well, too. So, and I had the honor in past years, within the last decade, to serve as a Secretary of Ag for a couple of years, and worked very closely with ag development in that role as well, too. So just excited to be a part of this panel and the discussion today. And as Nate said, ag development is very important to our state, to our region, and to the industry. So glad to be here.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. One other item, in Mike's background, he's a former state legislator as well. So if you look at Mike's background, he's really touched a lot of avenues of what makes our state function and operate. And we really are excited to have you with us, Mike. Next up is Kyle Peters. Kyle, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. So Kyle Peters, I work for A1 Development Solutions, which is a site selection owner's rep company based in Sioux Falls. So what we do is we help companies that get to the state and really don't know the local permitting side of things, really don't know the organizations. We introduce them to that and then do all the permitting. A little bit about me. I grew up in White Lake, South Dakota, which is a small town in between Mitchell and Chamberlain. My folks are fourth generation cow-calf operation there, mainly Black Angus now. School, I went to South Dakota State University for ag business, and then I hopped over to Northern State University and got a minor in banking and financial services. After college, I was in ag banking for about 4 years, and then I went to the South Dakota Governor's Office of Economic Development in Pierre, which was my most recent job before A1, and I managed the east side of the river, so all the business development projects there for GUED. So been with A1 Development since May of 2021, so I'm the newbie here. But no, it's fun. It's fun to learn. I work with a great bunch of guys, and I appreciate the South Dakota Ag Foundation for asking me to be on.
Thank you very much, Kyle. And we're excited to have a combination of gray hair and young and up and coming energy as a part of this panel discussion. So it's great to have you both. Let's start out with the very basic question, and certainly both of you weigh in on this. Why is ag development important? What's the point?
Well, the old saying, if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards, comes to mind right away. Or the other saying is high tides raises all ships. And I think those two things play a big role in why we need to continue to look at ag development and move things forward. The more people there are, the more markets there are for commodities, just the better off that everybody's going to be. South Dakota is very good at producing things, producing commodities, and then shipping them somewhere else. And we need to get better at processing those, at looking at other uses, alternative crops, and those types of things. And the way to do that is through ag development and looking at all those things. You look at the resurgence of the dairy industry as a very good example of that in the last 10, 20 years or so. as a dairy cow numbers just kept declining and declining. And big reason is we were lacking in dairy processing capacity here. And, as we added a dairy processing capacity, milk cows came in, and, then you can just look at all the ripple effects that have back to those communities in terms of workforce, as far as value added alternative source or uses for the crops, different markets for neighboring crops and things as well too. So, egg development is just so important that we just continue to look at what's needed the most and where are the other uses for those crops. I could go on and on, but I'll kick it over to Kyle.
Yeah, no, good points, Mike, for sure. And, anybody that knows me knows I'm a big proponent of rural America. And a lot of the stuff for the future of egg development happens in rural America. So the example that I give people is, if processing comes here, cheese processing, milk processing, if that's a $400 million investment, that's going to be about a $750 million investment for the livestock producers, getting the barns up, getting the cattle here, shipping the milk. So a lot of that future or that money spent is in rural America, because your dairies aren't in town, your processing might be within city limits, but all those cattle are going out and providing jobs in rural America. And so to Mike's point about shipping out commodities, we're really good at that, really good at shipping out our commodities, but we're also really good about shipping out our talent, our workforce. And so providing more jobs in rural America too, because not everybody is cut out for, say, a Sioux Falls job, a Rapid City job, an Aberdeen job, a Watertown job. They like to live in the country. They want to work in the country, and this gives them an opportunity to do that.
Very good, very good. So ironically, I'm live from SDSU right now. Actually, I'm up on campus here today in the Precision Ag Center, the new building on campus, helping SDSU brainstorm how to best leverage this new asset they have. And I bring it up only to have each of you kind of react to the synergies and the investments we've made as a state in positioning ourselves, not just to have agriculture as our number one industry, but to continue to leverage the resources we have here and build on that. And certainly Precision Ag on SDSU's campus is one example of that. There's certainly many more. How do you see our tool belt, our toolbox, so to speak? Are we well equipped for strong ag development as we go forward?
Well, I can chime in on that quick, Mike. And first off, I'm at the research park in Brookings, Nate. So we didn't plan this very well. We could have just as well partnered together on the Zoom call. But yeah, I think we're well equipped, and I don't think that there's anybody better than South Dakota State to lead that charge. I'm an alumni from there, and I think that is one piece of the future of ag development puzzle that we haven't quite mastered yet. I think that we're getting there, but I also think that there's just a bunch of opportunity in precision agriculture, whether that be for the farmer or for the jobs that might provide.
Absolutely. I look at when going back to the mid 90s or so, when I was out of college and working in kind of some what we now call precision ag technologies, we're starting to hit the ag production world and the grain side, for example, with the yield monitors and combines, and starting to get down to the square foot or the square inch of soils and doing variable rate fertilizing and seeding and those types of things. The reason why precision ag, in my opinion, at least, why precision ag is so vital in South Dakota, in the Western Corn Belt area, is because, as I like to joke with my friends from the I-states to the east, that's not really farming. That's just playing in the dirt. I mean, they can go out there and pretty much get a crop every year, where we have, our weather is so volatile. And, this year, if that is an example, a recent example, then I don't know what is. Where we really need to utilize precision technologies here, whether it's it's a seed placement, whether it's a fertility placement, it's learning more about the soil and soil conservation practices and utilizing cover crops and things, just to talk as a row crop or a cropping type example, and all those things that are going to be incorporated in the precision inside the building you're sitting in, Nate, and the things that are going to come out of that. I think there's no better place for that. And so South Dakota is positioned because we have out in the fields, out in the pastures, whether it's, rotational grazing, those types of things, we just have the toolbox the toolbox we're building, but we have the workshop to work in all across South Dakota, and a lot of ways where we can really show improvements in productivity, in decreases in carbon usage, which is a big thing nowadays. All those things. I mean, we're in the right sandbox, to do that, and we're getting all the toys in the right sandbox now, and I think the future is really going to have a lot of potential for us right here at home.
Yep.
Certainly, a lot of our listeners probably are aware of this, but just in case they aren't, to kind of help piece together how that fits together. So as I've stated, I'm sitting here in the new Precision Ag building on campus, where lots of research, lots of engineering, lots of technology is explored and evaluated. Kyle sits over in the research park, where once we have something that looks like it might make sense, we take it to the research park to try and commercialize it, to try and see, does this really work in industry? And as we continue to build synergies around that, I can't help but believe it'll continue to fuel ag development in our state and in our region, not just within our state borders. Do you guys have any examples of some of those kinds of things you've been a part of or witnessed over recent years in ag development?
Yeah, I can just jump in here quick, Mike. My dad is pretty old school, and he always says you can get more corn in a crooked row than you can a straight row. So why would I go and put auto steer in my tractors? But I think it's educational too, Nate. I think that there's so many things that even I don't know about precision agriculture that stays a little bit cloak and dagger, and it's just once you dive into it, it's just this whole other world. Like as Mike said, it's seed placement, it's tillage, it's everything. And so my history with it is I just think it's so new yet that a lot of people really don't know what they don't know about precision agriculture. So it's the educational piece, and I think once we can come along that learning curve, all of our producers could become more efficient.
Yeah, for sure. And to take that from the production ag standpoint to the processing side of things. So, and I know Kyle's got a pretty good arm back from his sporting days, but it wouldn't even take Kyle's arm to be able to throw from where he's sitting right now to where it's going to be a groundbreaking within a week of a new facility right there at the Innovation Campus on the edge of SDSU for bioprocessing. And that's all the things that can go on from what, like you said, we don't know what we don't know. And that's what that's going to be for, is to figure out what we don't know, or to explore what we don't know. One example, you asked examples, Nate, is that I can think of that we've been involved with lately, and a lot of people have, is, with the ethanol industry. We look at, go back the last 2 decades, and we thought, man, we're going to, produce ethanol, corn, and now ethanol consumes about 40% of the corn grown in this state, in the region. But the ethanol industry and others have continue looking at what's the next thing. How do we continue, as things continue to evolve and move around us, if we look at future electrification of vehicles, people think, oh, that's going to be the end of the ethanol industry. I don't think so. And through advancements in bioprocessing, it's like, how do we continue to utilize that corn, to process that corn? Maybe ethanol becomes a small portion of the the product coming out of that. It's more of a byproduct. The energy industry, jet fuel production is looking at basically taking what ethanol did for developments and enhancing that. Hydrogen energy storage can be done right here on the plains in the upper Midwest here, utilizing ag commodities and utilizing what we grow above the ground level versus what's below the ground level. And I just think there's a lot of things that agriculture can be the answer and the solution for a lot of world problems and issues that are important to people in and out of agriculture and in and out of the Midwest right now. So it's exciting to help be a part of what's uncovering what we don't know.
Very good.